But the motion, they will lead the motion. So this will be more of a Foley type practice. And the dancer will work more in a staccato motion. So real short, maybe big moves, but there will be stops. There will be peaks, valleys. So your motions, try to keep them as tight as you can so there's silence in between your sounds. So we don't have anything continuous. So the dancer will not be moving continuous, you will not be continuous. We'll see how we can get more of a... Yeah?
You probably have to lead. You start the move and then we'll follow your lead.
Oh, yeah, you can do that if you want to step.
And then maybe like...
Yeah, why don't you step forward and then they can be behind you and then they can kind of follow your motion so you're always, everybody's always kind of moving together.
Yeah, we should hold the motion for a while so everybody can get it and then move to another kind of motion.
So much more staccato with breaks in between.
Let's introduce though again. So,
Hi, my name is Edna.
Edna.
Nicole?
Ari. Be careful.
No head.
No head.
And Catherine.
Catherine. Cool. Okay. Kind of got a sense of what we're going to try and do? And one. That's it. up for people to continue to sort of work with the props, also ask questions of the Foley artist, ask questions of, you know, like the environment, that kind of stuff. So I know that you guys were gonna go until 8 and we're just at that point, so we'll just kind of start wrapping it up. But do you wanna kind of talk a little bit about, because this was just something we threw together. Like, it's like, hey, why don't we like have them down there and we'll like make noise and shit, and they'll dance, and it'll be interesting, or not, or we'll figure it out.
I'm not sure what to elaborate on. I know that it's very, very difficult to not go into music mode when people are moving. And for myself as a Foley artist, I always look at things very differently within movement. But then when we see dancers, your brain instantly goes to music. You know, and I know I brought a lot of very musical toys as well. But as for our students, like we were doing today, it's trying to find a different way to create motion and sound. And as we were discussing, it's really cool to collaborate and get different perspectives on how things go. So I thought this was really cool on how some of you were able to control what was going on and how some of their energy was able to control what you were doing. I thought that was a really fun exercise. And also just, I think it really helps us all to understand where other elements come into our artistic performance, or how difficult or how challenging it can be for other people to work with each other when our mindsets are in a whole different place. So I thought this was pretty successful for us all to actually, I was hearing some really cool reflection and dialogue, words of organic and connection and that kind of stuff. So artistically, I think we were successful.
I think choreographically as well, because I know my mind instantly goes to what can I create next? And this has just opened up a whole new world of music.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Very much.
Stuff, yeah.
And this is something that I have been trying to pull something together in my head, because I'm almost like a workshop garage environment musical person. I started with music, and a lot of music, the experimental and progressive rock and a lot of that stuff made me think a lot about how normal things in the world are very musical and very tonal. And I've been trying to put a project together on how to make some sort of a composition that is not music, but is garbage. You know, and Stomp was the first thing that, like, I always had that in my mind, and Stomp came out with beating on, you know, buckets and all these weird things. And it really got my brain kind of thinking more and more, and inspired me to do my job as well. You know, like listening to the world and watching how things move, and, you know, just that whole thing. So this is very satisfying for me to see it kind of develop.
Yeah. People who were playing, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just thought it was really interesting too, because like as a dancer, you try to listen to everything as music, but like I know when I was up there and I saw other people doing it, like they would try to really react to things as they were as sound, you know, and not turn it into a type of beat or some flowy thing. So I thought it was really cool when I would see someone just react to the initial sound that they would hear. And that was really interesting.
And I think one thing that all of us just as humans cannot get away from is tribal. You know, banging on things and making noise, energy, releasing that energy. And when we can kind of connect as a group, it's just that tribal instinct that we all have.
Yeah. People who played something, where was your consciousness in terms of listening to those around you? Because something that we're going to start getting into in our class is how do you develop those layers? So it's like, how do you take one thing and then add something else to it and add something on top of that so that it adds up to something bigger than that and not just a whole bunch of noise? So was anybody did anybody have like a conscious like, or not, or just go with the flow? I'll go with you first.
Well, you know how we're doing this like staccato in the beginning, so everyone's kind of like doing like a beat, just like, yeah. But I was trying to do it differently because I was a musician for 10 years of my life. So I was trying to make something different that kind of balanced the like.
Yeah. Anybody else? Charles and then Thomas?
I would choose a body part, and I would choose one that was more, I guess, vocal than the others. And then what I would do is see what was the next most vocal. So then I would probably take it into the torso and try to transition in between, or whichever, or I would go off of her levels. So it would just depend on what she was doing, but I would start from a body part or from a certain level.
Yeah, cool. Alma?
For me, when I see movement, I think about a certain pitch or a sound. So if you're doing something with your lower body, or that's a bigger movement, it's a lower pitched sound to me. If it's something hands, I hear like a shaky sound. So every time you hit a contraction, I hear it. Like for me, it's percussive and it's musical, even though it's not actually music. It's sound, connected to motion and movement, and that's how I thought about
These two comments right here are completely connecting, so you can
Yeah.
only see where
That's my guy.
the sound.
That was technically his guy, yeah.
Yeah, you guys were.
Could be your left
Top
arm,
of
and
it.
then
Yeah.
your torso could be another sound and leg. I
It's
mean,
just crazy. To
something
see,
you
like,
can really orchestrate.
sounds just crazy. We had the jam session with the drum talk and the musical theater, and AJ and I, he was in the last thing, but this guy on his drums, he was going at it, and he
Yeah.
separated from the group. And then I would just touch the drum and feel the bass and go off of that. And he started challenging me. I'm like, wait a second, like. So I would try to, match whatever he did, like no matter how crazy it was, and yeah.
I was trying to match what you were doing.
That's right.
And that's where that connection comes.
Yeah,
It's
that's
really
my guy.
it's a very it's a very cool thing to fall into.
Yeah. Nicole, did you have another?
I was just gonna say, along with working with the people we were working with, since I was in a group, I was also trying to feed off of, like, my partner, and she would do something, and I'd try to, like, do stuff that would work together, as opposed to just, like,
Yeah.
which I also did.
Yeah, but trying to have that sense of what's happening around me, where can I add my sound to this cacophony of sounds? Yeah, and that'll be a lot what we're going to be playing with. Obviously it'll have some reining in as it applies to a specific film clip, but it's like, how do you organize this? How do you make it into something that is a greater than the sum of all its parts?
And on the improv, I'm impressed how a lot of people were like dancers hearing a certain sound and knowing like, oh, I can wiggle my fingers because that's the sound I'm hearing, or I can shake like this. And same thing with the response is like being able to pick that up, and it's fun to watch.
It's really interesting what you guys are doing. Like, before we started, I was reading your board, which is so.
It's
just so
completely made up
vivid.
words. This is the same thing. It's completely improv. It's like, what does that sound? I don't know. It sounds doinky.
Yeah.
Doinky. Well, play it. That sounds doinky.
It's just so vivid the way you guys are listening to things. Like, that's a lot of information. Like, that's a lot of information when you think about it. So it's really
Yeah.
cool. Really
It's a fun process.
Cool. I want to invite you guys to hang out and continue to, so I play with sounds and ask more questions, but also I understand that you have had a long day and are going to be very physically active again tomorrow, and us as well. So I want to thank you guys, be with you in official practice.